Welcome back to the Fitness League podcast, where we break down trending health topics, give you bite-sized pieces, and try to make this all a little less overwhelming. Today's focus is going to be on childhood obesity and overall health. You know, the obesity component is a growing epidemic with far-reaching consequences. So we are going to explore the current state of childhood obesity, its implications on long-term health, underlying causes, and practical steps families can take to promote healthier futures. What's up, fam? I know it's been an interesting morning for some of us.
Some of us meaning Joelle.
Mostly Joelle.
Oh, we can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
My mic is not on.
As I said,
sums up
it's
her
been
morning.
an interesting morning.
It's not letting me switch to my mic. Like all of being able to click my Yeti is grayed out. I gotta leave and come back. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Hey,
How did you guys not notice that my mic didn't sound good?
I wasn't looking at you.
I think you sounded normal, but
Okay.
whatever. You're here.
No, it definitely sounded like computer audio.
Here we are. Now we know.
How's your morning going?
Oh, it's great. I've been concussed by a shower rod. I have cleaned countless amounts of piss out of my toddler's bed and sheets and blankets and crib mattress and fitted sheets and mattress covers. We're doing great.
Hashtag mom life.
Not to rub salt on the wound, this all happens the day that Wes sleeps 9.5 hours
Yeah.
for the first time.
Like, how are you guys? Oh, Wes slept through the night. Like, great. My 3.5-year-old didn't even sleep through the night.
Going back to bed.
It's okay.
I'm not convinced this is him sleeping through the night regularly yet, but
But even when they have that once, it feels reassuring because you're like, okay, I know you could do it now.
he can do it. Yeah. It definitely is reassuring. And I think it's so funny. And I know we talked about this, and I don't know if it was the postpartum podcast, but like, I'm just so much more chill this time around. Like, and I think because I just did it with Cora, like, this is a positive of 2 under 2 is like, you just did it.
Yep.
You have all of that info fresh in your head, and it feels like I'm just kind of on autopilot. And that is a huge positive and win for me, having 2 under 2 with this close age gap versus the 5-year age gap of Kai and Cora. So anybody who's expecting 2 under 2 or wants that, there's your positivity of the day.
Yep. Feel that.
Okie dokie, guys. Let's dive back in. So to kind of provide more context, understand what childhood obesity really is. As defined by the CDC, childhood obesity is having a body mass index at or above the 95th percentile for children of the same age and sex. Now, recent data does indicate that obesity affects approximately 19.7, 20% if we're rounding up, of children and adolescents aged 2 to 9 years old in the United States.
That's why.
Really highlighting the severity of the issue. Now, if we tack on just being overweight, so overweight being characterized as a BMI between the 85th and 94th percentile, again, for age and sex, we are at another 16%, so a total of 35%, a little rolling average there, of children being either overweight or already in the obese category. So a lot of different things that are leading to this, which we will dive into in greater depth. But I want to keep going with a slightly more high-level summary of why this is so important. Obviously, we don't want our kids to be overweight. There are health implications. But what are those health implications? Well, obesity in children is associated with a heightened risk of developing serious health conditions like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular issues, and just anxiety, depression, things along those lines. So when those things are prevalent, we notice it is significantly more prevalent in the kids who are already overweight. Just want to hop back in here for a hot second, guys. We were running into all kinds of technical issues here today. So if you feel like you're lost, wondering why the tone shifted so quickly, we did have to clip a couple sections in this podcast episode. But just wanted to jump in and let you guys know we are working through some tech issues on our set. Those will be resolved very shortly. Now, welcome back to the current episode. All kinds of issues today going on, guys. Also, sleep apnea. So, obstructive sleep apnea is more common in obese children.
All sorts of things going on. So sleep apnea.
Not that any of this is funny. This is all serious shit.
We're having a hard time, guys.
We're having a hard time, guys. Well,
sleep apnea
Well,
and
sleep
childhood
apnea.
obesity.
how about that?
Well, you know what? This morning, I have a funny story, side note, that kind of just contributes to all of this. I go out to do my workout, and we set the alarm every night, obviously.
This is early onset dementia. This is not sleep apnea.
It reminded me of it, though. So I go out to the garage, and obviously I have to turn the alarm off before I go out to the gym. So I turn the alarm off. I do my workout. I come in. I'm like getting ready for the day. I hear, because like every time you turn our alarm on or off, it says home and armed or disarmed or whatever the other one is. So I hear it go home and armed. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then the door opens and the alarm goes off, blaring through the house. I have my newborn sleeping. Both of our kids are still sleeping. And I'm like, what? Is someone breaking in? Like, did somebody set the alarm and someone is breaking in? Like, I was like, what is going on? And I realized, nope, it's just my husband trying to let the dogs out. He reset the alarm to let the dogs out and open the door. But it literally says home and armed to warn him. And he did, like, I'm like, what are you doing?
So she already shut it off. You thought you were shutting it off, but you reset it, and then
No, because they're different buttons. I knew that it was shut off. It was habit to go over there. So rather than disarm, because it was already disarmed, I armed it. So separate button,
But
punch
it
in the
literally
code, arm
tells
it,
him.
says home and armed, and I walk over to the door and open it. And then I stumble trying to grab my phone to disarm
your
it
whole
again.
house alarm is going off.
Literally everything's going on
Yep.
off. I'm
It was
like,
so great.
okay. So
And
anyway,
is that how
sleep
all the kids
apnea.
woke? Is that how all the kids woke up this morning?
They actually
No,
didn't
they
wake
slept
up.
through it.
Oh wow,
Surprisingly, that was
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Solid 8 seconds of that blaring through the house.
oh my god.
So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I know we're going to have some good stuff. We're going to have some storytelling.
Let's get back
I feel
to the
like
sleep
sometimes
apnea.
people would rather hear us banter and chat anyway than hear about
Yeah,
childhood.
you guys
I
let
hope
us
so.
know. I hope you
Yeah,
enjoyed
was
these
this
little side tangents.
Better or worse? I got up early, today, got some stuff done, and then I decided to check the markets for the last time. I won't be checking the markets for probably 2
why
months
do you
now.
hurt your own feelings?
What'd you say?
Yeah, don't just. Why are you starting your day trying to hurt your own feelings?
It's an absolute bloodbath because I'm trying to strategize. You know, how do we finagle left and right and do
Talk to
certain
Brant.
things?
Talk to Brant. It's almost like he does this for a living, Josh.
I mean, I know. It's set it and forget it. You got to stop looking at it.
Yes.
It's
That will mostly be his advice as well.
better times ahead.
Stop
Diamond
looking.
hands. For those of you who are freaking out about the markets, diamond hands. We don't sell when there's blood in the streets.
How did we go from sleep apnea to
No,
'Cause that's
now
what
is
my
the
mind
time
was.
to
That's what my mind
buy.
was.
Now is the
Yeah.
time to buy
If you have
want
it,
to. Yeah,
if you've
you
got
want-
the disposable income, you will make a fortune. Like
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, most people already overinvested and now they have to wait without crying. But if you do have an extra chunk of change lying around, you will create
you have an
generational
extra
wealth
100K
investing right
laying
now.
around.
Oof. Turn that into a
Yeah.
quick 750.
Maybe one day when we're paying ourselves again.
Yeah. That'll be fun. That'll be cool.
It'll be so nice. to
Project
have
B,
money
everybody.
then.
Everything we got.
Project
About to be
B.
the house too. Going into this project.
Yep.
Let's carry back
Facts.
on, huh?
Okay.
All right, so
Sleep
high level
apnea.
overview. Childhood obesity, childhood just general being overweight is a huge problem right now, and there are some big things down the road that my pain point with this, to kind of bring this full circle and drive the stake home, and I've talked about this in the past, my biggest pain point is that, yes, I assume parents understand there are negative things that are going to happen because of this, but it's your fault. As a parent, if your child is overweight, if they are obese, I consider that borderline negligence because it is entirely on you and you are setting them up for some seriously negative connotations down the road. And it's not because of them. It's because of the decisions that you're making right now and the things you are allowing them to do or not giving them the runway to do, whether it's convenient or not. And this will be something we talk about as far as contributing factors, but we live in a very convenient time. And it's easy to pass a kid to the screen, to pass them a screen. Sit down. I don't want to hear you crying. It's not okay to be bored. Here, you want to eat these things? That's fine. You're in charge if it makes you happy. That is not parenting. And that's where a lot of my frustration comes with. And that's why this isn't, again, and I've said this in previous episodes, this is not me talking down to you if this is your current situation. This is me bringing awareness. Through awareness, we create change. It's time to wake up because it's not okay.
I think that and I know you know this, obviously you get very heated and passionate about this topic, when you say like it's on the parents. And I don't disagree with that. I do think that it's also important to recognize the complications that parents may run into. And yes, at the end of the day, like you have to parent your child. Like that is true. I also think parents don't have a lot of support. They're overworked. They're under recovered. They're probably not taking care of themselves, which we know is a big piece of it, because the more we could take care of ourselves as parents, the better we could take care of our kids. There might be a lack of knowledge. Like I want to give parents the benefit of the doubt in the sense that no one wants to do ill by their child. Like every parent wants to do what's best for their child, provided that they have the knowledge and the resources to do so. So what gets hairy, I don't know the right word that I want to use. Hairy is not exactly what I was going for, but like what gets muddied in the water is figuring out, like, to your point, Josh, there's so much information out there now. On one hand, it's easy to be like, you could have the resources if you wanted to, in terms of information, in terms of education or information. But look at our coaching company, where we coach adults who don't know what to do or how to feed themselves or how to work out. And that's not a knock. I mean, that is what we're there for. We're here to help you and teach you. But if an adult doesn't know how to do those things for themselves, it's going to be very, very hard to do those things for their child. So I can understand where parents don't know what the right call is for nutrition or exercise or activity or screen time, because they don't know that right call for themselves. So for me, it's not like, yes, at the end of the day, the parent is in charge. But if the parent doesn't know how to parent themselves through health, fitness, nutrition, exercise, how could we possibly expect that they know how to do that for their child?
I think that's a great point. And I think to kind of bring another perspective into this, like going off of what you said, Joelle, I think diet culture and just that whole side of things is also so prevalent still, that a lot of people think, okay, I'm not going to teach my kid how to diet, so I'm not going to teach them anything. And how many clients do we have that only pay attention to their nutrition or go to the gym regularly when they have a fat loss goal? So it's like either doing all of that or doing nothing at all. So why are they going to teach their kids, oh, I don't want to teach my kids how to count calories or diet or lose body fat, or, they don't know how to approach it. And it kind of just goes back to what you said. But I think that can be another perspective for some people too, because it's all or nothing. I'm only going to diet, or I'm not going to do anything at all, or I'm only going to try to lose weight and then I'm going to lose it and I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing before. They don't know how to be at maintenance and implement those healthy habits and just live healthy without dieting.
And I also think, sorry, I want to add one thing. I also think there's an aspect of a lot of adults have really bad relationships with food. And if they're hyper aware of that, they're also trying not to pass that on to their child. This is even something that I struggle with in terms of nutrition with Sloan, where like, I don't want, her to think that sugar is bad and that she needs to restrict sugar all the time. But at the same time, like, I want her to choose nutrient dense foods. And like, that's the majority of what's in our house. But I also don't want her to think those things are bad. Like, there is this confusing aspect of, how do I teach my child how to eat a nutrient dense diet, but also like, we could go out for ice cream as a family. And I think the best thing that we've been able to do, and I'm saying we as in the three of us or the four of us, including Brant, we'll give him a cameo here, is that we model as much as we can. We model, this is what we have in the house. These are the snacks that we have in the house. This is, the type of meals that we eat in our house. And also, we go out for ice cream, but like we don't go out for ice cream every day. So I think modeling is a big part of that, which comes back to if the parents don't know how to model it, the child's not going to learn it.
Modeling is a huge part of that. And that is actually a category that I would say for those who are completely lost, that is the reason their kids are in that situation, because they're modeling those behaviors. And that's something we're going to talk about as a contributing factor in a little bit more depth here in a minute. I want to start by saying I don't disagree with anything that you guys just said, either of you. But I am going to deliver it in a more pointed way because, A, as you know, this is one of my most fiery topics. One of the things I am most passionate about. We impact the world by the way we raise our kids. Like, that's the impact we're going to have on the rest of the world. And all of our listeners, it's the same concept. People don't necessarily need to keep hearing the soft and fluffy answer. I am not one to beat people down, and it's not my intention to do so here. But this is a message that is very important, and you cannot have a fluffy scapegoating answer to scoot out of this. It is entirely on you. It is on nobody but yourself. And if you don't have the resources, I don't mean money, I don't mean the time necessarily, but a little bit of effort to understand if your child is overweight right now, okay, something has to change. It doesn't take a wealth of knowledge to know that they shouldn't be on the couch all day eating potato chips, playing video games. That being outside is good for you. This is common sense. And I completely understand you come home tired. The last thing you want to do is put your parent hat on for some of you. You just want to get through dinner time, get to bed, and start over the next day. I understand that vicious cycle all too well. But it's not an excuse. You made the decision to have kids. So we don't just plop them on the couch and leave them there. We actively see, okay, things aren't going in a great direction. This is going to have a negative effect on the rest of their lives. So it's time to do something about it. Wake up. I don't care how tired you are. If your child is already overweight, already linked in that obese category, which, again, to highlight these stats, is more than 1 in 3 of you listening, one of 3 of your kids, it's time to step up and do something. I am this passionate about even having animals, having pets. They shouldn't be living in crates. They shouldn't be attached and spend their whole lives in a crate.
A dog.
They shouldn't be attached to either a crate or a leash their entire lives. Train the dog, feed the dog well, play with the dog. It's not there to be your fucking stuffed animal to cuddle with and go to sleep. It's a real living being. So if you are the one who's choosing to take on this responsibility, take on the responsibility and do something about it. 35% isn't a small number. It's not an anomaly. So for those who need the sharp message, we're sharing it. Step up and be a parent because it's unacceptable, and the way the world is turning, this is where it starts. We talk about increase in anxiety, talk about increase in depression. So physical detriments aside, what kinds of decisions do you make for yourself and others when you're consistently depressed, when you're sad, when you've got this dark cloud looming over you? Do you feel connected with the rest of the world? Do you have faith? How are you spiritually, emotionally, mentally? How are those things going? Look around. Is everyone looking super happy? It starts with you and the way you take care of your kids. So I'm not disagreeing. I'm not discounting anything you guys said. But we're at a point now where people can't continue to, oh, I'll change later. It's okay. It's a tough season of life. No, it's going to continue to be a tough season of life. Welcome to parenthood. Step up.
We were overdue for a Josh rant, I feel like.
I don't think, yeah, like I know Alessandra and I don't disagree in the sense that like it starts at home and you need to take care of yourself. I think on one hand, you're like, we don't need the fluff. Like people just have to hear it straight shot at them. And that's true. Like, I do think there's an aspect that people just need to hear, like, this comes down to you and this is your choice. Where I will interject is just that, I love nuance. And I don't necessarily think that nuance needs to make something fluffy. I think nuance is just a recognition that, like, we know it's hard. We know it's hard. Like, and you did recognize that. Like, we know you get home at the end of the day and like the last thing you want to do is play or do exercise or go on a family walk or whatever. But like, that is hard. And maybe you work a 12-hour shift and you come home, or maybe you come home and your kids are already in bed, or maybe you come home and you have 10 minutes with your kids before they go to bed. Like, there's nuance. And so
but the irony of it, I don't mean to cut you off, Joel, but the irony of it, and this is really, again, it goes into the knowledge of it, but by taking that evening walk, not sitting down and watching that show, but taking that walk, regulating your circadian rhythm, reading together, you're going to feel better, and it builds into itself. So that's where that knowledge gap comes into play. And yes, we're putting out all the free tools. Like, hopefully you guys are hearing this and you're absorbing some of those and you're putting those into play, into action, and you feel the difference and you're excited and you're motivated and you are making these changes. But the irony is a lot of the things, not all the things, but a lot of the things that you're avoiding because you're too tired are the things that are going to make you and your family happier, healthier, more energetic, more productive, all the good things. They just don't seem like the most appetizing one on the plate as far as your options.
Yep.
I think we can relate this. I'm just thinking about, like, obviously we all have established habits. We've been living this lifestyle for over a decade now. However, I think during the early postpartum period, at a time where in my body I'm heavier than normal, I'm recovering from this traumatic, quote unquote, event, this big event. I'm tired. I'm not sleeping well. That relates to how a lot of people may feel on a regular basis who are not taking care of themselves. Granted, I still take care of myself postpartum. I'm not saying I'm not taking care of myself, but I'm just in a different state compared to my not postpartum self, early postpartum self. And I think this is a great example of, like, even when I could not work out, and even when people were bringing a lot more baked goods and all that stuff over, we're not eating our normal thing after the first week, getting outside, going for a short walk, doing what I can to help promote better sleep, taking care of my sleep hygiene, just doing little things to take care of myself, even in a state where my newborn was waking up multiple times throughout the night. And, you are trying to balance this new transition. Like, you're in a high stress state, high tired state, all the things. Those little things made such an impact. So I guess I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who just may not be in our current shoes of our current phase of life where we are taking ourselves. So just to elaborate on that, you can focus on these small things and truly make such a big difference in your energy levels and how you feel by choosing the small things to get outside, go for a short walk, stand in the sunlight for 5 minutes. Like, these little things that really don't take a lot of effort, but might take a lot of effort to make that decision in the first place, can really help. So I just want to remind anyone who maybe is listening for the first time, maybe someone shared this episode with you, maybe you're not somebody who listens to the podcast regularly, like, sometimes it really is just about doing the hard thing, not realizing that hard thing is going to give you back the energy and just the mental clarity that you are striving for. So,
well, pick one small thing. Don't start with the hard thing. Pick one tiny thing, implement it that week. Pick another one next week. That might feel
hard for them. That's what I meant by the hard thing.
I understand. I'm just to come back to the softer side. Like, I've gotten my rant out. Don't make it overwhelming. Like, pick the small things. What can we do? Can we eliminate some of the ultra processed stuff? Can we get off the couch? Can we take a walk? Pick one thing out of those three simple things. Pick one of those. Do that this week. Pick another one for the next week, another one for the following week. And when you realize these aren't massive lifestyle shifts, that's not what we're about. It's just about making a better decision today, making a better decision in the here and now. You're going to build momentum. Those things compound and things get a lot better, a lot quicker than you think. So you're not stuck in a rut. If you've got 200 pounds to lose, you can lose the 200 pounds. And it shouldn't be this incredibly overwhelming thing. You should feel better every step of the way if you're doing it the right way.
I want to throw another thing out there. The stat was what, Josh? Like 20% of
19.7 are obese, and then I believe like 16.4 additionally overweight, something along those lines.
So, yeah, I mean, the 35-ish% are overweight or obese in the ages 2 to 9 category, right? So
2 to 19.
2 to 19 years old. Got
19.
it. So I want to come back to something because I could think of some examples of parents maybe hearing this and saying, well, I don't do any of that with my kids. I don't pay attention to what they eat, or I don't limit their candy, and my kids have a ton of screen time and we don't really get outside all that much, but they're not obese. And I want to talk about that for a minute, because even if your child is not overweight or not obese, I want to hammer home that these habits are still important, because even if they are not a part of this overweight or obesity statistic as a child, that doesn't mean that they won't fall into that category as an adult because of habits or behaviors that were started or not started at a young age. So I want to come back to that for a minute, because it's not just about weight. Like, yes, we're using weight as a example of proof. I don't know if proof is the right word, but evidence.
It's a simple measuring stick, essentially, to
Yes,
kind of
like
highlight it.
it's a significant metric to be able to say, hey, this percentage of people are obese, and we know that that is in part going to come down to the behaviors of that child and the behaviors of the family as a whole. But for the children or the parents who are not doing any of those habits but aren't obese, is there that same incentive? If there's not a weight, or, you know, this child isn't going to the pediatrician and the pediatrician is saying, oh, you know, great, they're a healthy weight, keep doing what you're doing. And what we're currently doing is 4 or 5 hours of screen time a day, no physical activity, lots of video games, eating fast food for every meal. Like, and now that parent is getting the reassurance of like, keep doing what you're doing. Your kid's a healthy weight. They're growing. So I want to come back to the idea that it's not just about weight, the behaviors and habits that you are doing at home, modeling at home, encouraging at home, they're going to matter for way more than just your child's weight.
That's a really good point, Joelle. And I want to touch it on both sides. So I want to come back to the point you're making, but on the other side, those who are currently overweight, obese, the statistic is 80% that they will remain that way for the rest of their lives. And that's not because they can't undo it, but for everything you just said, it's the habits. It's the way they grew up. Those things are instilled in it. It is very difficult to break those when you spent the first 19 years of your life doing those. So huge, huge point. On the other side of things, our kids, Kai, Cora, Wes is a giant, so we're not sure about him yet, but Kai and Cora are currently normal weight. They're on the lighter side, but I already notice things in Kai that I dealt with in myself as far as gut issues and like gut troubles and just, Daddy, my tummy hurts. And for a while, it's like, okay, you don't want to eat what we're having tonight, or you want to go watch a show, or you want to have dessert in 10 minutes, or whatever the deal is. But it's very consistent, and it's the symptoms that he talks about. I mean, they're things that I have dealt with, and I take them very seriously. So, you know, Kai, very active. We minimize screen time. And not to say all those things can't be done in moderation, but we have a pretty good balance right now. He seems to be generally very healthy. But I'm in the process of trying to identify, okay, what can I do better to help his digestion, to improve his gut health? You know, from supplementation to the actual foods we're consuming. And we're already consuming primarily whole foods. Like, we're doing a lot of things, but I'm going through that with a fine-tooth comb, magnifying glass. What can I be doing better? What's triggering these things? So exactly to that point, it's not just, oh, you're not overweight, so everything's fine. Your gut health is attributed to everything else throughout your body. Neurodegenerative disorders down the road, autoimmune disorders. Cora's got the eczema going on that you dealt with when you were a kid. So a lot of that stuff starts with diet. What is triggering these? What can we do to improve the things that they are consuming? Or are there certain things that we don't realize are flying under the radar and they are eating more than we think they are? Are we living on mac and cheese, a month in a row?
This postpartum period, I will say, like, we talk about this a lot more frequently now that Joelle's on the show. Like, we are not perfect. We have had mac and cheese probably 5 out of 7 nights since Wes came home, just because it's easy. And do we try to pick the Goodles versus the regular mac and cheese that has more protein and more nutrients and more fiber? Yes. Yep. Is that great? Yes. But do we need to rely on that every single night now that we're kind of in a little flow here and a little routine? Probably not. We can do better in that area. So even us, even as health coaches and people who seemingly have it all together, we get stuck in those little periods of time where we're picking the easy option. And I don't fault you if that is what you've been doing for months and or years on end. But again, bringing awareness to how we can change, how we can be better. This is one area that we personally can be better at and are actively trying to be better at. So, I mean, as a kid, I struggled with eczema. I would get it like on my inner elbows, behind my neck, behind my knees, like anywhere where like skin kind of touched, I guess is the best way I can describe it. And now I'm noticing Cora has it popping up behind her knees. Do I know if it's diet related? I don't know. But do I know we can probably do a little bit better and see if it clears up? Sure, absolutely. So, again, just reiterating that we are absolutely not perfect and being preachy here. We are wanting to do better for your kids as well as our own.
Through awareness, we create change, and we're going to deliver that message in some sharper ways and some softer ways. Again, I get fired up on this one, so you get a little bit of both today. But we're here, and we're talking about it, and we're spreading this because we love you, and we want to help you create that change for yourself. That's all.
But going back to what you said, Joelle, too, just to kind of continue to reiterate that side of things. I mean, that's something that adults have also argued, like, oh, well, I'm fine. I'm not overweight. I'm quote unquote healthy. My lab work looks great. Do you want to be fine, or do you want to be thriving? And that's really what it comes back around to for me. Why am I continuing to train so hard when my body looks fine? I have good muscle
Looks
mass.
damn good.
Why am I continuing
That's why we
to
got
eat
3
well?
kids.
That's why we got 3 kids. Why am I continuing to make these positive choices and habits on a daily basis? Because it makes me feel so good. It gives me the energy to play with my kids and to get outside and to go for walks and to do all the things. And I want to be able to do that as long as humanly possible, deep into my old age. So that's what I'm thinking about. Even though I'm not somebody who really has ever struggled with being overweight, it still matters so much. So it matters for you as an adult, and it also matters for your kids, even if you are just borderline healthy, doing things kind of at that average level.
I have a question. I'm gonna
Go ahead.
put y'all put you on the hot seat for a minute.
Oh, I like it.
What do you say to the person listening to this who says, well, it's just easier for you guys. You're both home with each other. You work from home. You're not in an office setting. You're not gone for 12 hours a day. You're not solo parenting. You're always with each other. You're whatever. Because there will be people, right, who look at your life and say, yeah, but you're not out of the house. You're not this. You're not that. You're home with each other, etc. So we are all quick here to say, like, we are not perfect. We are all doing our best too. And I'm sure, Alessandra, you've probably gotten questions like that in question boxes or DMs or whatever. What do you say to that person who is like, well, it's just easier for you?
That is such a good question. And to provide that context, there are days, forget days, this past year, I'm like, we built these businesses to do exactly what we're doing. So we could be home with the kids. They're not raised in daycare. That being said, I often question whether this is any better, because I'm here, but I'm not here all the time. It is, the lines are so blurry.
You can't be. It's impossible.
It's impossible, but it's, on one side you just feel entirely inefficient. Like, I'm being inefficient as a business owner, and I'm being inefficient as a parent because I'm always working and I'm always parenting and I'm not giving 100% to either at any point in time. It's also, yes, I'm here with the kids. We get to see them all day. But, Kai's talking about for his birthday, my birthday, Daddy, you can't work. There's no working. We could do whatever we want. I don't want it to just be on the birthday. And that's like the saddest part, and it breaks my heart. And like, especially right now in the season that we're in, it is such a grind, and it's more to survive. Like, for those of you who work for others, maybe you feel it in your environment right now. It's do all the things simply to survive this time. We're not, necessarily growing. We're investing everything we have in Project B. It is extremely difficult. So there is no wiggle room. Like, I can't just kick back for 4 days and like, you know what? Unplug, computers off. It's not where we're at right now. But I did take yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. And I'm like, I'm not working. Whatever Kai wants to do, whatever the kids want to do when they're all up, like, we're outside, we're playing games, we're doing whatever. So we jumped on the quad. We rode around the yard for a while. We played soccer. We played chalk in the driveway. We went for a walk, played foosball before bed. Like, we did all the things yesterday. And it wasn't just like, find 20 minutes to give him that I'm not doing anything else. It was just, this is what we're doing today. Everything is off. So for those who think it's easier, I can assure you, maybe it's not harder. It's obviously hard to
Just
be
a
away from
different
your
hard.
kids.
It's different
just a
hard.
different
Just a
hard.
different hard.
It's a different hard.
And to that point, how many times have we said in the last year, like, man, I wish we just had an office? Where we're like, we wish we just had an office to go to.
Well, you know
Because
what
this
it
is hard
is?
to do from home. It is hard
Yes.
to do from home. And it's hard to be a mom at home and a CEO at home and work at home and be in full content mode at home. And obviously you guys are, Kai's in school, but like you don't have full child care with the babies. And I have one baby home with childcare and another baby in childcare, because for me, it was like I learned very quickly early on that I could either be in CEO mode and give that my all, or be in mom mode and give that my all. But I empathize with you guys, because for me, like when the kids are home, I can't get anything done. And I feel like then I'm just giving part of me to both. Like I'm part parenting, part at work, and I can't just be all in on everything. And so Sloan was home like that first year with me, and I was like, I am so burnt out. This is so hard. I can't be full-time mom and full-time CEO. Like this is just not going to work for me. And obviously I don't have a spouse that also works from home. Like he's out of the house. So we put Sloan in preschool at 1, because I was like, I would rather in our situation, and being solo at home and whatnot, in our situation, it was best for our family for them to be in school, or for her to be in school. And when she comes home, like computer is off, phone is off. Like I am fully in mom mode. And that's what weekends look like too, typically, unless the kids are napping. If the kids are napping, I'll work. If it is home time with the kids, and like Sloan's been at school for the last 8-9 hours, like she comes home and I am in mom mode with the kids. And I think coming back to just like, well, it's just not hard for you guys. Like it's hard for everyone. It's just a different kind of hard. And to your credit, like you guys are parenting in shifts where one of you is working, one of you is parenting, one of you is working, one of you is parenting, or maybe now it's shifted a little since Wes is born and you're both kind of like half parenting, half working, but like that's also a different kind of hard. And to be, where home is your workplace and it's your parenting place and it's your training place, it's actually like, it sounds convenient, but it's really hard at the same time. And so I think it's helpful for people to just hear that like it's a different kind of hard. And there are times where you guys wish you had more childcare, and there are times where I wish I didn't send my children to childcare. And there are times where I'm so grateful to be home in a home workspace. And there's also times where I'm like, man, I just wish I could get out of the house and had an office. Like there are always going to be different types of hards, and there's also always going to be those moments of like the grass is always greener on the side that you're not currently on.
When I had Cora, I mean, my biggest struggle postpartum, like I'm very lucky to never have experienced postpartum depression, maybe a little postpartum anxiety with Kai when he was a baby. Like I don't know if that was just being a first time mom or if it was actually a postpartum anxiety, but I overall handle postpartum really well. It's the balance of being a CEO and also a mom that's at home. Like that's my struggle, is like I want to work. I love what I do for work.
Right.
I wish I could have more time for dedicated work. That is not my reality right now. Josh is he's picked up the load a little bit on work since we had Wes, and I've kind of, been with the kids a little bit more, but we do try to parent in shifts when we can, when we don't have our moms coming over for a couple hours. But I would look at you, Joelle, and I would be like, I remember like being like, I wish I had a nanny, or I wish I had someone so that I could work like Joelle does. And I know you've also have wished the same of what we do. So it really is like a grass is always greener situation. And, I think it also is important to highlight like, yeah, this is how we do things, but look at all of our clients. Out of our hundreds of clients, I can guarantee you nobody is approaching this the same exact way. They all have their own situations and lifestyles and different types of jobs, and some work shift work and some work overnight. Like you have to figure out how to make this fit your life. And everybody has their own hard, and everybody is going to kind of ebb and flow through different seasons, and it all comes back around to figuring out how to make it fit what you've got going on in the current season right now. So yeah, but I agree with everything that Josh said. And I think that I also can relate to people who, I mean, this was obviously pre-kids, but even before we had kids, when I was working outside of the house, before this was a full-time business, like I would pack all of my food for the day and bring it to lunch in a little lunchbox
Yep.
with my little like what was it? Fit Mark bags, like the
Oh yeah,
Six-pack.
six pack
the
bags.
six-pack bags. Yep.
I would bring my little
Yep.
6-pack bags to the office every day,
And my
I would
gallon
pull
jug.
out and bring my gallon jug of water, and that's how I would go about meeting my macros for the day. I would pack every single meal, every single snack that I needed for the day, and I would bring it, and it would stay cold in there, and then I would, figure out I would either work out at 5 a.m. before work or at 5 p.m. after work, and then we would come home and work on our business. So we've been through a lot of different seasons too. So even if you can't relate to how we live our life now, we might have lived it in the past also. So I just want to throw that out there too.
I was bringing a 12-ounce cold steak and like a giant ass sweet potato, like just cooked and just left there, and that's what I ate for lunch. It was horrible.
But we did it. I mean, that's what we had to do.
Yeah, I think about even when I was a
situation.
teacher, I'd get up at 4, I'd walk to the gym in the city, go work out at 5, and as a high school teacher, like I had to be at school at 7 a.m. So like I've already lived half a day before that 7 a.m. of like getting up, working out, going home, showering, getting ready for school work, walking to school, then bringing my prepped breakfast to school, my prepped lunch to school, my prepped snacks to school, all weighed. I also kept a separate like weight scale, like not body weight, but like food scale at school, so that if there was something that I was having later in the day, or there was an apple somewhere or whatever, and I was going to have something else, like I had another food scale at work and in my desk, and all of that stuff was prepped. And then I'd get out of school at like 4:30, and come home and coach clients and do my online coaching work and literally get in bed at 8 to do it all again the next day. And like, again, that was pre-kid. So like life was a little bit different. But it's a good point of like, we've lived a lot of different seasons of either being full-time in an office, being full-time in a school setting, being part-time with coaching, now being full-time with coaching, now being parents full-time with coaching, having childcare, not having childcare. Like we have lived a lot of different lives, as most, of our listeners have. And it really is all about fitting what works for you into your lifestyle, whether that is childcare, no childcare, whether that is part-time work, from home work, in an office work. For some people, like it's a choice to do it the way they're doing it. For other people, it's like, this is just kind of how things worked out and like what life looks like right now. But it's kind of one of those, whether it was your choice or not, like you got to do the best you can with the cards you're dealt. I don't love that my husband is not in the house 12 hours a day. That sucks. Like it sucks that he leaves at 7 a.m. and he's home at 6:45 every night. That's our Monday through Thursday. But like, that's my reality. So we still have to do what we can. And he preps his breakfast and he brings a smoothie and has his lunch and his breakfast prepped and his snacks prepped. And we come home and we have dinner together. But like, we do what we can. And then come the weekends, like it is purely family time. And it's like, that's our activity time. That's our, let's get out and do something with the kids time. Like we are all just trying to do the best we can with the cards we're dealt. Whether we like those cards all the time or not.
Yeah. And I think even just from the home gym perspective, like I get that question a lot, like, well, you have it so easy. You have the gym at home. And I know personally, Joelle, like you love not having the gym. You would rather go to the gym. So I think it is all perspective. It is, yes, can you maybe invest in some equipment and make do with what you have at home if that is really what you want? Sure. But if not, like going to the gym is not the end of the world either. And you can make the best of that scenario too. And even just like, yeah, I'm home with Josh all day, but I remember getting to a point, I don't know, this was a couple years ago when we were going through a harder growth phase of business, or I don't know what it was, but I remember being like, sometimes I wish I could just go work at Lululemon just so I could miss you a little bit. Like we're literally together all day. You. I remember just being like, I don't ever really get to text you. I don't really get to miss you. So that's a whole nother side of things. But like, again, you learn to appreciate and make do with whatever situation you have. And yes, we have worked really hard to get to this point. Like there was a time where I didn't see him all day, and he would be working at his full-time job, and we would come home and do client work until 10 p.m. and go to bed. So again, perspective,
you're also
seasons of life, and it's always going to be ever changing. So that was
you're
big
parenting together, you're working together, you're homeowning together, like you are doing everything together, and that poses its own challenges.
It's been like this for a decade. I will say there is something empowering for those of you who haven't done this ever, like kicking the day's ass before the sun even comes up. Like we were, again, back when we were in the normal job grind, 3:45 at one point is when I was waking up. I was in the gym by like 4:15, and you're driving through the world. It's your world. There's nobody there. The street lights are actually blinking. They're not set like to green and red and yellow. It's just blinking yellow or blinking red lights. It's a totally different world. And when you've got a few hours into the day before anybody wakes up, it's just like, holy shit, this is great. So I am trying to work to get to that. It's tough now trying to optimize sleep and recovery and getting back into that. But that was an enjoyable time. Quick recap, guys, before we kind of transition a little bit. So some implications of the childhood obesity. I know we got into a little funky technical glitch here during this period in the beginning of the episode. So main things the kids are being, not main, but some important things the kids are being predisposed to. It's type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular issues, sleep apnea, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. So it's not just the physical health that is a huge part of it, but it's also the mental health, the emotional health. Those are massive, massive undertakings that are being affected by things like screen time being too high, physical activity, major contributors being, sugar sweetened beverages. That's actually accounting for 10 to 15% of youth's caloric intake right now. Ultra processed food. So we're not talking about, an RX bar, which is made of 4 ingredients, whatever it is, but the things where it's just, don't worry about the things that scare you because you can't pronounce them. That's not what I'm getting at. But in general, non-whole foods are typically going to be the ultra processed stuff. That's the way it's broken down right now. So those are some major risk factors. They're just very, they're calorically dense. They're not satiating. So you can find yourself in a position where you're overeating them extremely easily. So those are a lot of the contributing factors and the main things that we're looking out for. Now, when it comes to things we can do at home, actionable strategies for parents, for caregivers, having the conversations with others, these are questions and topics and examples we've been touching on throughout a few different Q&A episodes, which is why I wanted to do a deeper dive on this one for you. And we've already started talking about the modeling behaviors and creating positive atmospheres, introducing nutritious foods. But just some minor shifts, some things that we need to pay attention to. These are the things where we've created awareness of the problem and we create the change now with some actionable strategies. So when you're talking about modeling healthy behaviors, what are you doing throughout the day or whatever time it is that you have with your kids, or whether even if it's just in their routine, but the actionable behaviors, the modeling, those healthy behaviors, what do those things look like for you guys?
So going on walks, getting outside as much as we can, and being active in whatever way we can. I mean, this past weekend was a great example. I don't know if it was like this for you guys, but it's been raining here for just days. Like all weekend was rain. Today is rain. And like, I know my kids, when they don't get to get outside and like go walk around or go play or go to like our local park, they start getting antsy. Like I see it in their behavior, and like screen time for my kids, like it makes it 10 times worse. Like if they're already cranky and then we have screen time, their behavior gets worse. And then like we're crying because we want more TV. And I'm like, no, like we have a rule in my house. If you cry over TV, then we're not allowed to watch TV. So for us, like yesterday was a great example. We have this like bounce house castle. I know you guys have something similar. I know that you use in like summer. But we have this bounce house castle that we got on Amazon, or my parents got us on Amazon for like, I think Sloane's first birthday. And on rainy days, we pull that out of the basement and we either set it up in the basement or in the living room, and we blow up the bounce castle. And the kids probably played in there for an hour, just jumping around, bouncing around, throwing like the balls at each other in the bounce castle. And then there are other times where, like, if we don't blow up the bounce castle, we pull all of the cushions off the couch, like the bottom cushions and the back cushions, and we set up the whole living room as an obstacle course, like the floor is lava. And we put like magnetiles on the cushions, and like you have to go and hop onto the cushion and collect the magnetile and not fall in the lava, which is the floor. But like, that's a way that I'm not thinking to myself like, and I'm not saying to my kids like, now it's time to exercise, boys and girls. Let's set up the obstacle course. It's just like, oh, movement is like something that makes us feel good. And it's something that helps my kids sleep good. And it's something that helps their behavior and it helps them get their energy out. And so instead of watching another movie or instead of watching Moana for 847th time, let's set up an obstacle course. Let's set up the bounce house. Let's go play in the jungle gym in the basement. Something that can get us moving. And again, it's not like we're necessarily saying like, no kids, no movie. It's time to exercise. Like it's not some sort of punishment or chore. It's just something now that's so ingrained that like if it's a rainy day, Sloan will be like, Mom, can we do obstacle course today? I'm like, sure. Like that's something that has become ingrained. Like movement is ingrained in them in some way and they feel better with movement. And like Sloan will be the first to be like, Mommy, I just feel better when I get to move my body. Sometimes I just need to take a deep breath outside, she'll say to me. And so I think to come back to your question, Josh, about like, what are we doing when we have time with our kids to kind of model that behavior in some way? I think just movement and moving our bodies in whatever way that looks like, whether it's at the park or in the house or in the jungle gym or in the bounce house or creating an obstacle course. I think that's such a, I don't want to say simple, but for us, it's a very natural habit at this point that we have, like, it's become easy for us. But at the same time, like, would it be easier to just throw on a movie than set up the whole obstacle course in the bounce house? Yeah, of course. But like, I know the long-term benefits and the short-term benefits, honestly. Like my kids nap great after that. I know the long and short-term benefits of like getting the movement in some capacity.
Yeah. I'll echo all of that. And I think, you know, now that Kai's getting a little bit older too, like if the two little ones are napping, like yesterday, he came out to the gym with me and I said, you know, we're going to do a workout. But I don't put pressure on him when we're out there. So like I'll have him do a set of squats with me. And then in between squats, he's eating some cereal. He's
playing,
coloring.
dancing.
He's like playing. He's doing what he wants to do. So it's not like drill sergeant, like let's go work out and I'm making you do 3 sets of 10 and then we're moving on to deadlifts, and like it's not like that. But he has shown interest in it, and yesterday was really cool. Like we did our squats together and then he just like was hanging out with me, and it was a nice quality time together. And I got a DM from someone yesterday after I showed a little clip of it on Instagram, like they said, you know, I really helped them change their mindset when it comes to including their kids with exercise. Because I think a lot of parents and adults still feel like it has to be my time to exercise by myself, which is great. Like I know that if we all get solo exercise time, like that can feel really great too. You're by yourself. You could take your time. You're not making sure kids aren't flying into the dumbbells in the corner. Like it is more peaceful. But when you open your mind to including them, it really can lead to great things. And we've seen that firsthand with Kai. Like he's almost 6 now. He's been in the gym with us since he was a kid, and since he was a baby rather. And you know, it really just is cool to see how that has evolved over time. And do we do the things like you said, Joelle? And, you know, we go out for walks and, you know, get movement in other ways, absolutely. But it's cool to also see, like, as they get older, they still are interested in doing what you are doing. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. And like even Cora, like she's 19, almost 20 months, and she will walk probably a little over a half a mile down to the end of our road back. We'll bring the stroller just in case, but she gets her movement in, and we're already starting to see like just how much that affects her too. Like she naps so much better on the days she gets her walk in before nap. So it's really cool to see these small things start to add up even at such a young age with them.
And if your kids don't see you work out, like
Sorry, I got a lag.
Sorry, we got a delay here. I was just gonna say, like, Sloan and Reese like rarely see me work out. They'll sometimes see me like Peloton in the basement, but it's rare that I strength train at home. But they know that I go before they wake up in the morning. So a lot of times, like, I walk in from the gym and I go get the girls up, and Sloan will be like, "Mommy, did you go to the gym this morning?" And like, I want her to know. And I'll say, "Yeah, I went to the gym." She's like, "Cause you want to get big and strong?" I'm like, "Exactly." Like, she knows we go to the gym so we could be big and strong. Like, even it was funny. I FaceTimed with my parents this morning, and they were on their way to the gym. They're in Florida, but they were on their way to the gym, and Reese was with me. And Reese said, "Why are you in the car, Mima?" And she'll be 2 at the end of this month. And my mom said, "Oh, we're going to the gym." And she goes, "Why are you going to the gym?" And my parents said, "Because we want to get big and strong." And then Reese goes, "Urgh," and she flexes her muscles. That's what our kids are growing up with. And like, it's not by accident. Those are the conversations that we have around exercise in the gym, and mommies and daddies and grandmas and grandpas and mimas and papas. We go to the gym so we could exercise and be big and strong, so we could chase you around and we could throw you up in the air and I could carry you up and down the stairs. And like, that's what's ingrained in our kids. And I think we hope, the hope is that continues to follow them through childhood, teenage years, adulthood, and so on.
Well, that was something that happened this weekend. It was something Kai doesn't go out and runs with me or anything. Yeah, and I said, I'm going to grab Cora, throw her in the jogger, and do a quick run. And Kai's like, "Can I come?" And at first I'm like, I don't, I got to, probably not going to have to slow down thinking about it realistically. Like, he's going to keep up with me. But I'm like, I was going to take Cora, but let me do a lap with Cora. I'll come back, I'll do a lap with you, and then I'll drop you off and I'll finish. And that's what we did. Like, it's not like, "Kai, do you want to come run with me? Do you want to go to the trail? Do you want to go down the road?" Like, he's like, "Daddy, can I go run with you?" Just because he knows we do it. He knows how it makes us feel. He knows it's important. May not know exactly why it's important at this point, but he did it. He ran the half mile with me. He was very red after that. So I think, and it's funny too, like, you talk about doing it as exercise versus fun. So I knew he could do it because I've watched him sprint a half mile to his friend's house. When we do our evening walk, his friend lives down the road. He will sprint the entire way to his house, and it's like a half mile trip. So that he did without blinking because it's fun. He's excited to go do that with his friend, go see his friend, versus, okay, we're exercising. I do want to do it, but it's not quite as fun. And he does it. We get back and, he's done and he's tired and he's ready to chill. But again, as far as modeling behaviors, it's not even the things that are directly in front of them that they're seeing on a daily basis. But if they know you're doing certain things and they know you make certain decisions and you act in a certain way, they're picking up on all that.
I think there's another piece of what's really cool about an instance like that, Josh, is that there's a resilience aspect to it that I think us 3 try to really build in our kids and find that balance of like, yes, it's okay to like chill sometimes, and also it's okay to be sad sometimes, but also you're gonna have to do some hard shit sometimes. And like, that run, you wanted to do that, you wanted to come with daddy, and after you were like, or during, maybe he was like, "This is so hard. I feel so out of breath." And at the end, there's this sense of accomplishment of like, wow, I did that. That was hard, but I did the hard thing. And I just showed myself that I can do the hard thing. And that's building confidence. That's building self-efficacy. That's building self-belief. And that is huge, huge to build in our kids. Because that confidence and that ability to do things on their own and that level of self-efficacy and confidence and competence to be able to do the hard thing and show up for yourself. And like, at the end of the day, did he really want to run? Probably not. He probably just like wanted that time with you and like knows that you do it and like wanted to combine the two of like, yeah, dad runs, I could run, I could do it. And he already had that confidence of like, I could do it, which has been built by you guys in prior years and prior exercise sessions and so on. And like you said, by the end, he was done, cooked, ready to chill. But in his head, even if he didn't finish and was like, hell yeah, I did that, in his head, he knows he did that. And he knows he was able to accomplish that. And how special that he got to do that with his dad.
It's so funny. I have a vivid memory of basically the same scenario. My mom used to run all the time and she's getting back into it now, actually, too. But I was 8 years old and she was going for a run and I said I wanted to run with her. And she took me to run. And this was not a half-mile run. This was literally probably 3 or 4 miles that she took me
Oh my
on.
God.
And I remember I was like, at first I was all excited. We went off and we started running, and then you get a few miles in, and I remember just feeling like exhausted, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and like I was complaining like typical kid. And she's just like, well, the only way to get home is to get home, and we have to run back home. So I just remember feeling so tired and complaining and all the things, and she made me finish, and I remember finishing and just feeling so proud of myself. And obviously, look at what I'm doing now. I'm training for half marathons. I've done half marathons. I've continued my running journey into
Running on
adulthood,
purpose.
but running on purpose. But I have vivid memories of being on that run with her as an 8-year-old, and that really just has bled into the rest of my life. So, as someone who has been through it, I can only hope that it is the same for Kai.
And I don't know, Josh, actually, we maybe talked about this on one podcast episode once before, but Alessandra, like you grew up with your mom being very active in the exercise space and running and lifting and personal training. And you saw that. I grew up with my parents in the gym. I was in like gym daycare while my parents would go get a workout in, or eventually it would be like mom and dad are going to the gym. They'd leave me home with my brother. And we both grew up in a setting where our parents in some way were involved in exercise. Oh, did we lose Josh there?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Okay. And I don't know if Josh grew up at all with that, but I know we did. And obviously in our own lives, that translated into adulthood of us, taking care of ourselves and exercising. And like my parents to this day, they still go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. And those are habits that were ingrained in us at a young age. And my dad never woke up one day and said like, all right, it's time to start going to the gym. It was just like, oh, that's what you did. Like my parents woke up and they went to the gym. They were always morning gym goers. And so eventually I got to an age where I was like, oh, like, can I come? Like, because my parents modeled that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it doesn't have to be this like drill sergeant thing or this very strict training program that you put them on, or, it doesn't have to have such clear boundaries like that. It can be messy. It can be fun. It can be something that you figure out as you go along. And there is no blueprint here officially as far as like, this is what you have to do with this kid who's this age, and this is how many times per week. Like, no, make it fun, make it enjoyable, make sure movement in some way is some type of, or it's in their life in some way. And at the end of the day, again, we're all doing the best with what we've got. But I do really believe that this will positively impact your kids if you are helping them learn how to move their bodies and to have fun with it and to just do hard things. Because again, it isn't always going to be like, okay, this is fun, this is exciting. But at the same time, like, you can push them to the extent to do hard stuff, and then at the end celebrate doing that hard thing with them. Like, be like I don't know, I think the more that we make it fun and enjoyable and celebrate those big wins. Like I think about bringing Kai to do when I did the 10K race last year, he did like they have little kids fun runs that they do, and I think it literally was just a half a mile. So we brought him there, and I just remember he was like beaming at the end when he got his medal and like crossing that little finish line. And it's just not that you have to do a race with them, but like just showing them that this can be something exciting and something that you can be really proud of yourself to do. Josh, I don't know if you're back. I think you're back.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right. Well, I want to skim through a couple more in this department. There's one more moderate area I want to touch on, but modeling healthy behaviors, creating a positive atmosphere. So making them feel encouraged, everything we just talked about, making it fun, just creating that situation for them. When it comes to nutrition, introducing those nutritious foods, and do your best to just make it somewhat palatable for these kids. They're not going to love and look forward to broccoli necessarily, but if you can make, we do the frozen ice cream. We turn that frozen fruit. We turn into ice cream. We blend up frozen berries with some milk, some maple syrup. What else do we throw in there? A little bit of vanilla extract, and then sometimes we'll drizzle some dark chocolate on there. The chocolate chips, we'll throw them into that. So just introducing them to that, prioritizing those whole food nutrient-dense options as the majority of their diet, what they're consuming. Manage portion sizes, especially if you are in a pinch and it is the more processed stuff. Just be cognizant of what you're giving them, how often you're giving it to them, and is it the entire bag or are they pre-portioned sizes? Limiting those to the best that we can. Daily movement, daily exercise, just getting some kind of fun thing in for yourselves, for your kids. Create this new routine. Family activities are going to be huge in that regard. And limiting screen time. I know it's the easy go-to as far as, okay, we need to shut down, and it's okay to use that as some downtime, but it shouldn't be, the adult pacifier where, okay, I need a break for the next 6 hours. Go watch a movie marathon. Here's Netflix unrestricted. Pay attention to it. Now, one thing I do want to, doesn't have to be a deep dive, but I do want to touch on a little more dedicated is ensuring adequate sleep. So sleep routines, sleep environment, and just the regimen itself. We've talked about regimen, talked about setting boundaries with family members. So just the benefit of having that consistency and understanding we're not training our kids to be robots, but there are some really quality benefits that come from this.
Yeah, I just did a whole YouTube video just showcasing even Wes's current sleep routine as a newborn. And I kind of touched on how the habits that we're starting with Wes are things that we do ourselves as adults and that we do with our older kids. And it's not anything like super crazy, but it comes down to building a good sleep routine and having good sleep hygiene. So having that actual routine. So we have specific bedtimes and wake times for our kids that we are consistent with most of the time. Are there days where we do let them sleep in maybe a little bit more as they get older, or maybe they're up late because we're at a family member's house? Of course, but for majority of the time, we are adhering to those bedtime routines. We have them sleep in a good, cold, dark environment. We use sound machines personally. That's how we sleep. So we don't have blackout shades in our room, but we both wear sleep masks. So just making sure your environment is set up for quality sleep. What else did I touch on? Getting outside early in the morning and going on our evening walks before bed. Like those are things that I have found really have helped my sleep. It's something we've started with all of our, well, Kai didn't really get to start with this, but Cora and Wes got to start with this pretty much from day one of getting up and getting outside early for the sunrise, depending on the time of year. But just coming back around to these basic principles as far as this is how we help our kids sleep better. And I think those are probably the top three. I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? I think that's the top three. But again, it's just interesting how these things that we are implementing to help our babies and our newborn sleep better are the same things that we do for ourselves.
Did we lose Josh again?
Are you frozen?
I thought Joel was going to go.
He's here.
Me and Josh are staring at each other. I know we've had the sleep conversation previously, and there's some people who might look at that and be like, that's so extreme that you're on this like strict nap schedule or strict sleep schedule, but like, don't care. That matters to us. It matters to us. It helps our kids behave well and sleep well. It's important to us that they're getting enough sleep. It's important to us that we're getting enough sleep because they're getting enough sleep. It's one of those, it comes back down again, full circle of modeling that and doing as a parent for your child what you would be doing for yourself and vice versa.
It's funny because even Kai now, when he goes to bed at 7:30. He'll be like, "Are you guys gonna watch TV before bed? What are you doing?" Like he'll kind of like ask questions to like figure out what we do when he goes to bed, and we're literally like, maybe, but we're probably gonna go to bed very soon, and that's the truth. Like we're in bed by 9 o'clock the latest because I literally would not be able to function. Like we talk about stress, we talk about having a newborn, we talk about just the day-to-day life of being a business owner, working from home, having kids, all these things, being pulled in all the directions. If I did not prioritize my sleep, I would be losing my mind. To put it simply.
But also part of prioritizing your sleep is prioritizing your kids' sleep.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I would not be able to go to bed at 9 o'clock if they did not have a bedtime.
Right.
Right.
Ironically, I just stumbled across the term revenge scrolling. So it was while I was revenge scrolling that I just stumbled across revenge scrolling. Basically, the kids go to bed and you just go into your rabbit hole and just spin through that social media feed because it's your time. It's my time to be me. It's like revenge. I'm getting my time back. This is how I do it. And ironically,
Interesting.
it leads further into that vicious cycle. Like now you're tired, you're going to bed later, you're not getting a quality sleep because you're doing that. And it does feel good, like you're decompressing in that moment. And then you blink and it's like, well, that was unproductive. And I could have been asleep a half an hour ago and then I could have started my day more fresh. So I thought it was funny. I found it while revenge scrolling, but I thought it was a very on point term. I'm trying to limit that. So even like the shows, we kind of finished a couple shows we were watching. I'm like, I don't really want to find a new one. I want to get into a more elaborate sleep routine. Like I'm getting enough sleep number wise, but my quality sleep is still kind of shit. Not feeling great. So he goes down. I try to be ready for bed, like face washed, teeth brushed, ready to go to bed before I even put him down. So then it's like mobility, meditation, my tea, read a book, go to sleep, trying to set myself up for success in that regard. So doing the best we can with what we got.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have found that early postpartum, like when I would wake up to feed Wes overnight, like obviously I'm timing my feeds on my phone. I use the Huckleberry app, but I was also scrolling on my phone for like maybe like the first week. And after that, I was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that anymore because number one, that impacted me being able to fall back asleep. But number two, it was literally not serving me in any way. I was like, what am I gaining from this? And it was like, I'm just like, passing time and I'm just not even reading what I'm literally just scrolling and I'm like this is such a bad habit. I do not want to continue this. So now I'll put the timer on and I'll put it back on my nightstand and I'll either just like watch him feed, which is like the cutest thing ever and I don't ever want to forget it, or I'll just kind of just zone out and maybe I'm thinking about different things for work, maybe I'm trying to be creative in that moment. But it was super interesting just how much that little scroll for 10, 15, 20 minutes that he was feeding impacted me being able to fall back asleep. So for those asking how my sleep score is so high with a newborn, it's partially because I'm not doing things like that. Like I'm keeping it dark. I'm not on my phone when I'm feeding him. Like I'm able to fall back asleep typically within 5 minutes of putting him back down. So, be aware of your habits with that too at any time of day, not just overnight. Not obviously not if you have not just if you have a newborn, but like Josh said, like it's such a go-to for most parents after you put your kids down or when you get that free second of time throughout the day.
I want to leave you guys with this unrelated, just a take home outside of everything we just said. It seems in a lot of different ways, and it's probably hitting you guys in a certain way right now as well, that things just compile on top of each other. When it rains, it pours, as they say. For us, there's a lot of different things going on, and even right here in this moment, trying to juggle all the things and keep my internet up and balance Riverside on this podcast. Outlast the temporary. I think I got this from Ed Milet. He says, stand back up, work through the things. Don't let it get you down. Focus on the bigger picture. Stay mindful. But just that singular line has stuck with me for a long time, and it reminds me I have it set every Friday. Outlast the temporary. Weather the storm. Build the resilience. As long as you don't quit, you never fail. So keep moving forward. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We thank you for being here. If you got value from this episode, we would greatly appreciate if you shared it. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
At Joelle Samantha.
Everything else you need is linked in the show notes.